The three Abrahamic traditions come out of Kemet, come out of a Kemetic understanding of the world. And so the early Christian groups, if you're unfamiliar with this, look up the story of the groups that were considered the Gnostic groups. Some of these groups had a very different understanding of women. I told them at the lecture on Saturday that they couldn't tell me about the role of women until they read the book of Thecla. Most Christians have not even heard of Thecla. Thecla was in many ways as important as Paul. Did you hear what I said? Now understand, 2/3 of the Bible is Paul's work. So Thecla is as important that even with Paul in her midst, she baptizes herself. Then you better understand that there's some things in your tradition that you're not understanding. There's some things in your tradition that have been manipulated by men. And you have to look at what happens in the 3rd and 4th century of the Common Era. That is when those church fathers actually make Christianity literal. It's when they take the role of woman out. There were these great debates over what should happen to Mary. Did Mary go into heaven? Was Mary divine? Was Mary simply a woman? There were debates, and they came to a conclusion on how to deal with Mary. So you have to understand that men made those decisions. That's the reason why the tradition seems so patriarchal today. It's not because the Bible tells us it should be. It's because the Bible that you have was curated by by European men who are attempting to galvanize their own power. That's why. So if you are going to be an African, if you're even going to be a revolutionary, what you have to do is you have to re-Africanize your books. You have to re-Africanize the Bible. You have to re-Africanize your teachings. If you're not doing that, you may be following a tradition that is anti-African. And if you are following a tradition that's anti-African, you are an enemy to Africa.
Yeah, not only that,
we have to weed that out. Now, I'm not saying you should discard the Bible. The Bible has divine teaching in it. Right. I'm not a Christian. I read the Bible. I'm not saying that. But I am saying that there are things missing. If you're unfamiliar with this family, look up what's called the Apocrypha. The Apocrypha. Apocrypha is basically a description of books that were decided too controversial to include in what's called the canonical Bible, the Bible that you have. So you have to understand, and this is the reason why I mentioned Thecla. There were actually, you have Acts in the Bible, those series of books that are called Acts. Well, there were the Acts of Paul and Thecla. Why have you not read them? Why? Because someone decided they should not be included.